Welcome to the 1980s. In this newscast, you'll learn all about what was the trends, politics, and culture. Welcome to the 1980s. In this newscast, you'll learn all about what was the trends, politics, and
Thanks,
culture.
Liv. Let's get this started right away with the economy.
The U.S. managed to almost triple their debt, but they created 13 million jobs. This was the largest economic growth since World War II. The only downside was the drought killed farmers' profit.
The United States entered a period of sustained economic growth in every state, and the stock market went up.
People love being able to spend money. GNP grew to an annual 4.2%.
However, the national debt tripled, and most of the growth was from the highest income group. The middle and lower classes actually lost ground. Some jobs faded from importance in the economy.
But the economy created 13 million jobs.
Wicked. Let's go to Lane for everyone's favorite politics.
The 1980s were dominated by Ronald Reagan being president. He started the Reagan Revolution in politics that lessened the control of the government. With his own brand of economic strategy known as Reaganomics, he cut taxes, increased money to the military, and money drove to the economy. He also gave support to any country that opposed communism. The people themselves protested till the Equal Rights Amendment was passed. This gave equal rights to people of any gender. The amendment was led by the National Organization for Women to gain equal rights for women.
Thanks for that. Now let's get started on the values in the 1980s.
The equal rights for women were definitely picking up. Half the people graduating college were women. Women also started to gain seats in the Senate and in other parts of the government.
But the Equal Rights Amendment wasn't the only thing going on during the 80s.
For sure. In Germany, the Berlin Wall finally came down. The wall was built to keep people in East Germany that were communists. The people brought hammers to take down the wall and be reunited with the other half of Berlin.
And the Civil Rights Movement?
Reagan wasn't too focused on the movement and did very little to improve the movement. He actually managed to get 1 million Americans to be homeless. The minimum wage was $3.10, and the average income was $12,513.46.
That's tough. Moving on to music. First we have a commercial. The newest fashions fly here in the 80s. For girls we have the flashy skirts, spandex leggings, and tees perms. For guys we have denim on denim, leather jackets, and windbreakers. Here is something else we have plenty of. Men can style theirs as well as shaved heads, jerry curls, perms, ponytails, big hair, hair top, fresh fade, and the punk. For ladies we have ponytails, scrunchies, aqua net bangs, wild hair, extremely volumized hair, crimps, curls, and perms. Now back to the music.
The 1980s had some stellar music. The biggest genres were glam metal, rock, and country.
What is glam metal?
Glam metal is a mixture of hair metal and pop metal. My awesome friend, some of the bands you had to buy tickets for were Motley Crue, Rat, Poison, Bon Jovi, Guns N' Roses, and Wasp.
I've never heard of them.
I'll play some music for you. The best music from the 1980s was from a band called Motley Crue. They released 9 studio albums, 3 live albums, 8 compilation albums, and 30 singles. They started in 1981 and ended in 2015. However, they came back in 2018 and are still going. Another good band would be Alabama. They were together from 1969 to 2004. Their top song in the 80s was Tennessee River.
Thanks for that.
That was wicked. Now we'll go to the lab to see some inventions.
Welcome to the lab. The 1980s created some of the basics we use in the 21st century. Apple released their Macintosh computer that everyone could use. It was a bit bulkier than the laptops they now release, but it was high-tech back then, and it was created by Steve Jobs. It had no games, and everything was saved on a floppy disk. Sony started selling their camcorder, and the Nintendo Game Boy was released. A personal music player called the Walkman became very popular. These inventions were limited to just personal use as DNA fingerprinting was invented. Now cops had to prove someone was there by the fingerprints left behind.
Wicked. I'm so happy about those games.
They're fun, but do you know any cool celebrities?
Not really.
Lainey will tell you all about them.
There are tons of famous stars that made their mark in the 1980s. The queen of pop, Madonna. She is referred to as one of the most significant figures in cultural history. Her versatility made her a unique artist. Another important singer was Michael Jackson, who changed the way music is produced. In England, Princess Diana was receiving hate but continued to show her off her beauty.
All important people, but now to a new topic.
which is
News.
Sandra Day O'Connor was the first woman in the U.S. Supreme Court, and Sally Ride was the first American woman in space.
The first music television aired on August 1st, 1981. Their first video was the Boggles video Killed the Radio Star.
The 52 U.S. hostages in Iran were released and able to return home on January 20th, 1981.
In Ukraine on April 26, 1986, the Chernobyl nuclear plant went into meltdown and the citizens had to evacuate. Scientists think that will be 20,000 years before it's safe to live in Chernobyl again.
The Space Shuttle Challenger exploded on January 28th and killed 7 astronauts. The shuttle exploded due to the ice that formed on the shuttle.
On November 9, 1989, the Berlin Wall fell, which was the symbol of the Cold War.
Prince Charles and Lady Diana were married on July 29th, 1981.
Moving on to some of the cars that made appearances in the 1980s.
Ford released the Fox Body Mustangs. Also released is the DeLorean DMC and the Lamborghini Countach.
Don't forget the Chevy Camaro, IROC Z Camaro, or the Pontiac Firebird are good cars.
Differently, let's move on to movies.
Some of the scariest movies of all time came out, including The Shining, Friday the 13th, and Nightmare on Elm Street.
But we also have classic movies, E.T. and The Breakfast Club. E.T. ended up making $792.9 million and was the top grossing movie of the 80s.
And Batman is one of the most popular superheroes, and he got his own movie.
For sure, that's the 1980s.
Some of the best adventures and music came out.
And a good decade for equal rights for women.
See you in the 1990s.